Hello students, Miss Slyman here, this time with your notes on 2.4, and this is solving linear equations, especially those with fractions. So there's many different ways that you can solve these, and of course, as long as you're using a way that makes mathematical sense, you can solve it any way that you want. So I'm going to show you two different ways, and if you have another way that works for you, then that's great. So the way that I think is the easiest, anytime you see fractions, is to get rid of them. And the way that we get rid of them is by multiplying by the least common denominator. So the first thing that we need to do is to determine the least common denominator. The LCD. So the least common denominator. The least common denominator is really the least common multiple for all the denominators. So that's what we're looking at. Once we know this, we multiply every term, and it has to be every single one, every term in the equation. And I'm going to use EQN for equation. Multiply every term in the equation by the LCD. And then we solve as normal. It's important to note that we have to check our answers here, because when we have a problem that originally has fractions, I'm never allowed to divide by 0. So it's possible that sometimes our answer is going to be true for the equation that's left after we cancel the fractions, but doesn't work in the original problem. So we have to check with fraction problems. Check solutions. The alternative method, instead of determining the LCD on both sides of the equation, I can make a common denominator on one side of the equation to collect like terms, and make a common denominator on the other side of the fraction and collect like terms. So use common denominators to collect like terms, or not even collect like terms, but to collect terms into one fraction on both sides of the equal sign. And then we can cross multiply. And solve like normal. So this is our two different methods, and after finding our lowest common denominator and thinking about that, we're going to practice solving some equations. So I'm going to stop here with the steps and then come back and make separate videos for our examples.